Hello. In this video, we are going to learn about a financial function called as ACCRINT or accrued interest. Before we implement this function in Power BI, let's try to understand what this function means with some definition and also with the help of simple example in Excel. Here we have the definition and the syntax. Returns the accrued interest for a security that pays periodic interest. And below we have the syntax and it takes 8 parameters. Issue, first interest, settlement, rate, par, frequency, basis, and calculation method. And we have the definition for this each parameter. Issue being the security's issue date. First interest is a security's first interest date. Settlement is the security settlement is the date after the issue date when the security is traded to the buyer. And rate is the security's annual coupon rate. Par is the security's par value, and frequency whether the coupon payments are made annually or semi-annually or quarterly. And basis is optional. So if you explicitly state, you can state between 0 to 4, and it basically considers how the day should be counted. And calculation method, by default, it will be true if you ignore it. And if you explicitly state it as false, the accrued interest happens between these dates, the first interest rate and the settlement date. And if you ignore it, the accrual happens between the securities issue date and the settlement date. Okay. And the return value, we have accrued interest and some formulas and some remarks. And we also have an example. I'm going to try this example in Excel and Power BI. And we have it here with different scenarios. Let's quickly go to Excel and then try to implement this example. Here we have all the information. We have issue date, first interest date, settlement date, coupon rate, par value, and frequency. First, let's try to calculate with the last parameter being true. So I'm going to calculate accrued interest, issue date, and then first interest is the first interest date. And we have the settlement date. Rate is the coupon rate. Frequency and the par is the par value, and frequency it's semi-annual. We have it here. And I'm going to use actual and actual method, the basis, and calculation method. I'm going to use true. Okay. If you ignore it, it still considers it as true. So I have this $116 here. Let me change this to currency. Okay, 116.58. Now let's change the last parameter to false. Okay. So again, I'm going to copy this here and paste it below. But I'm going to change the last parameter to false so that my accrued interest is between first interest date and the settlement date. Notice the difference. Now, if you look here, so the accrued interest is comparatively less because the calculation or accrued interest is between first interest date and the settlement date. So this is how we can use accrued interest formula in Excel. Now let's try to do the same thing in Power BI. It should be exactly the same, but still let's give a try. So we have all the information here: issue date, first interest date, settlement date, coupon rate, par value, and frequency. Important point here is to make sure the dates are in exactly the date format. If you have a text or a string here, it's not going to work and it will throw you an error. So now let's quickly go to the report and then try to create a new measure. Call this as accrued int equal to, I'm going to use this formula, issue date, I'm going to use selected value function. And the first is issue date. And the next parameter is first interest date, selected value, first interest date, and next parameter is settlement date. Is the settlement date, and then we have to input the rate, and then the par value, and then we have the frequency. So it's twice a year. And then the basis, I'm going to use 1. And calculation method, I'm going to use true. And hit enter. Let me change this to dollars and to 1 decimal places. I should be getting the same results. So we have exactly the same results here. So this is how we can calculate or use accrued function in Power BI. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any questions or comments, please drop me a note in the comment section. I'm going to revert back to you. Okay. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to share this with your friends or colleagues. Okay. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.